Good morning, folks, and welcome to FYI. I got a lady cup again this morning, but I was made to understand so many cups are on the way, and we're grateful we're going to have a cup for every day in the year. Thank you so much, those of you who are sending a cup. I got a lady cup again this morning. Good morning to each and every one of you. It's the 20th day of December. For your information, yeah, we're 5 days off on that big day of this season, and we hope that you guys continue to remember the reason for this season. We hope that you guys continue to remember that in Him I live, I move, and have my being. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful, folks. Good to have so many of you on the live already this morning, folks. Good to have Beatrice Selby and Rowena Cummins is here as well. Siobhan McDonald. Clear Access Family Richmond is here. We're so grateful. Every day, Beatrice Selby, every day you wake up above ground. You got so much to be thankful for. I'm thankful for Dolly and Beatrice and Yolanda and Glenford and Grace Noel and Nigel Plass. We're thankful for all of you. Or in Don Cook in Brooklyn. We're thankful for all of you folks. Wherever you're joining us from this morning, share the live, smash that emoji button, good folks, and let's have a go at it. We got a lot of things to share with you guys this morning, wherever you all are joining us from. Quite a few things to share with you folks right out the gates this morning, and we want to get right to it. Good to see Raquel Gentle and Yonet Etua. Good to have Fennel Innes, Siobhan McDonald, all the great folks with us this morning. We're going to make sure that we are shared to all of the true and correct places as well. And good folks, Rhonda Daniel Chance and all the other folks, we're going to encourage you guys to share the live as well, folks. I'm going to let you guys know, and again, that Friday is going to be our last broadcast for the year, or last show for the year. We might come in different forms, an article here, a posting there, video content still. But in terms of our shows, it's going to be our last show for the year. That's this Friday. And then we're going to be back on the 8th day, which is, I think, is the second Monday in January. Fired up. Rhonda Daniels Chance, Robin King fired up and ready to have a go at it again. But good to see so many of you on the live, folks. And thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for understanding. For at least some of you. Eric Williams says happy holidays. And yes, 'tis the season. Happy holidays indeed. Eric and Yvette Tuna, happy holidays. Folks, if you're joining us on YouTube, you can help our publication along, help our broadcast along by purchasing a sticker at the bottom of the comment section on YouTube, the comment section at the bottom. There's a dollar sign there. If you hit on that, it takes you to some stickers you can purchase, and part of those proceeds come to our program. And also those of you who are joining us via Facebook, okay, a little blacker there. You guys can purchase stars on Facebook, and some of that proceeds are going to come to us here as well. And then, there's several other ways you can contribute to our program via Cash App and Zelle and PayPal, MoneyGram, Western Union, all of it, folks. And we also have a very secure link in which you guys can use to partner with us, folks, so we can pay off the bills we got left for this year and head into the new year debt-free. That's my hope. A debt-free New Year. So if you're going to get us something, folks, if you're going to get us something for Christmas, in addition to a cup, you can send us a small donation that helps us along. Well, let me say, send us a donation. If you want to send us 4 or 5 million US, we ain't gonna fret. Build that studio one time, build this thing out big and better. Hire a few more staff, to keep bringing you folks credible, valid information. We ain't gonna fret. So don't let me say small donation. I pull that back, small donation. We take donations of any size. That being said, folks, we want to head to some of what we've been talking about yesterday concerning the National Assembly. $25.9, there it is, $25.9 billion were approved yesterday in supplemental funding, to keep the country moving forward, And folks, I know there's a lot of you out there who say, why y'all even go to Parliament and bother with these folks? You get to put questions to ministers and have them answer. Put them in the hot seat of folks. Put them under pressure. And also you get to make statements that are entered into the Hansard, the annals of the history of this country. You get to interrogate the process of how we're spending this country's resources. And that's an important aspect of good governance. It's a very important aspect of good governance, folks. And we crave your indulgence. I know some of y'all don't even want to see them. But we crave your indulgence. So the House approved 25.9 billions. Billions. We don't have millions now in this country. Oil and gas, here, folks. Oil and gas here. Millions? Don't come around with funny. Billions. 25.9 billion approved across different sectors as we try to move this country forward. And I hope by now the PPP understands. Rena Cummins, right? Rena Cummins wants a party for the viewers. What say you folks? Rena wants to know where's the end of year party for the viewers. Well, we might got to do something. We might got to do something for this season. Let's see how it goes. We might got to do something. And the important question Debbie Collins has asked, before we've even asked it, where all this money going? Where all this money? That's one of the very important questions we have to ask. Where is this money going, folks? It's all well and nice. We want to be part of ensuring that, teachers get money and doctors and soldiers and public servants across the board, they get money. But where is money going? Where is money going? This government on several issues, right? Margaret Nelson wants to know where the party's at. Margaret, there's a beautiful place in Somerville, right? North Carolina, beautiful. If you see this piece of real estate, Margaret, if you see this piece of real estate in Somerville, North Carolina, my God, I think there'd be a good spot. You fly up everybody, room for all. This piece of real estate could hold easy 1,000, 1,200. It's so big. It's so big. Where the money going? Where's the money going? We're hearing about all these billions of dollars that are being poured into Gaisuko, for instance. But what is the return for it? What is the return for it? Minister couldn't say yesterday when questioned, but when Gaisuko is going to get to profitability. You get a projection for everything else. But the minister, Zulfikar Mustafa, didn't have a projection to when Gaisuko, for instance, will return to profitability. But one of the interesting things he did say had me very puzzled, because here's an administration, guys, and here is a government and regime that have been very vocal about all the people who've been fired from the sugar industry. None of the sugar industry has been right-sized to reflect the times we're living in. Folks, you and I know it. One, it's a very health-conscious age, and a lot of people don't even use sugar, period. I'm slowly getting there. I'm not fully there as yet, but slowly getting there. Some people don't even use sugar at all. And two, sugar can come among the considerations. Sugar can come from so many other different sources and produce at a much cheaper rate than we can do it at Gaisuko. So he couldn't say when we will get Gaisuko back to profitability, save and except, according to him, he is alleging, this is the Minister of Agriculture, that Gaisuko is receiving less and less money from the public coffers. And hopefully someday, he has a dream, someday Gaisuko will return to profitability. I hope it's not before we bankrupt this country. One hopes so. But an important point, Beatrice and Brenda, an important point that he raised is that a lot of people don't want to cut cane no more. I said, really? Really? When the sugar estate opened them back and so on, I thought, instead of people flooding the estates to cut cane, the minister made the admission. A lot of people don't want to cut cane anymore, so they got to go now in a different direction, folks, towards mechanization. Yeah. That's what the learned minister said. A lot of people don't want to cut cane. Or when down your China want to cut cane, Glenford, Siobhan, Debbie. Young people don't want to cut cane anymore. So they got to pursue mechanization. Yeah. Here's some of what the Minister of Agriculture, Zulfikar Mustafa, said in the course of the interrogation of the supplemental budget yesterday. Take a look, folks, and take a listen.
Mr. Chair, I have been saying this over and over, and Mr. Ramchitan, the honorable member, would have known too, that I said that we are trying now to do mechanization in Gaisuku. We know for a fact that some of the people don't want to go back to cut cane with this labor-intensive job. And we are mechanizing, and that is why we have studied and we are starting the mechanization. At Gaisuko, we have now bringing in machines that will cut the canes, that will load the canes, and we are looking now to make Gaisuko more modernized and more mechanized.
Yeah, people don't want to cut cane. You know, I took a moment yesterday during the course of that sitting, and I extended well wishes to the Honorable Minister. We might have political differences, but he was involved in a crash over the weekend at Fowles on the west coast of Berbice. Yep, happy to see him back on his feet, as strong as ever. A car careened into the Land Cruiser transporting the minister, spun the vehicle around and almost ended up overboard. Guyana has some of the most dangerous roadways in the world. That piece of a roadway at Fowles there on the west coast of Berbice is not an area that is heavily traversed in terms of congested traffic or so on. So that the minister's vehicle would come into contact with a car is something else. Happy to see him back on his feet, making the arguments a little misguided, right? But on point there, and actually in that point, he was supporting Member of Parliament Cameron Ramjatan, who has been saying that young people don't want cut cane. Kyle, you want cut cane? Jason Benjamin, you want cut cane? Young people want cut cane, so they got to go now to mechanization. We're now catching up. I thought with all that money Jack had spent at Skeldon, we fully mechanized. All that money, you know, transformational project. Skeldon was touted to be and produce a pound of sugar profitability to date. Millions of euros spent there. Billions of Ghana dollars. Right? It was promised to produce sugar world class. Not a pound of profitability. Also, Skeldon was touted to produce, as part of what the mechanization, modernization of Skeldon, it was supposed to be producing cheap electricity for a portion of the quarantine. We're still waiting. We're still waiting, drug deal. And that is why people are very skeptical when you come telling us about what's going to happen in Region 3, the gas to shore, and how what a transformational project the gas to shore is going to be. Because, I mean, Skeldon was touted to be an energy to wire, electricity to wire project, transformational. We're still waiting. Many years later, we still holding Kamal Prasad, Kishan, Tommy, Naomi. We still waiting. So don't give Guyanese flack for that. We're very skeptical when they talk about transformational project. The fiber optic, pim, one laptop per family, pim. We could go on. We could go on, folks. The Cherry Jacket International Airport, transformational project. That building, but 20 years now, can't finish. That can be the most expensive, ugly airport in the world. 20 years building, can't finish. That's Robia, if you ask me. But Minister Zulfikar Mustafa, on his feet after that accident over the weekend, did say, young people don't want to cut cane. Fiber optic, Kishan, Eric, Marlon Larimer. Young people don't want to cut cane. Yep, it's true. It's true. Some very shine-eyed, bushy young people. You say cane? What's a cane? What's a cane, Daddy? What's a cane? You know, I was telling you guys, well, my son, Jean-Pierre is them kind of young people. I was trying to explain to my son, Jean-Pierre, when we were younger, we had tablet, we had Netflix. What was a Netflix? We had Disney Plus. We had Prime. We had Prime. Here, my son, right? First child, you know. First child I produced. Here, this child, watch me in my face. My son, beloved. He said, Daddy is an old timer. My son, he's turning 60 next year. Yeah, where does the time go? We big, but we looking good. We got a turtle flesh. We big, but we looking good. Yeah, my son watching me, he said, Daddy is an old timer. He think he always had Netflix, you know. He think Netflix was invented in 14 BC. He didn't understand all that is of recent vintage. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of it is of recent vintage. You see, he think I invented the dial-up phone. He's back a chair though. You don't make the mind, Jason. They won't cut cane. I can tell you that. He ain't going to cut cane. He ain't going to cut cane. You know, during summer, I spending some time with my son. We were on a trail walk in South Carolina. He's tall and handsome and strong. You see? 3 sons, you know. 3 sons this old timer produced. 3 sons. I close off now though. That being said, though, I got a woman cup this morning. The old timer got a woman cup drinking some coffee. 3 sons. So we're walking down the trail there in South Carolina. And I am so astonished with how much my son has grown. Fully assimilated into American culture. And we're talking about school and how he's doing and so on. He says, Daddy, I want to go to a university. I've already picked it out in Florida. I say, what stories this here now? Them children want cut cane now. They don't want cut cane. That's what I'm telling you. And so it's good to hear the minister come to that admission. Their problem going to rise now. What they can do with all these people now? When the mechanization start, they got to accommodate people now in the sugar industry. Because you can mechanize, if they could get the sugar down to a cheap price, which is impossible, this part of the world, transportation costs and all of that. By the time you ship a pound of sugar from here to somewhere around the world, somebody could ship it cheaper, 5 times over. Get it there faster than we can. So I don't know what miracle Zulfikar Mustafa going to work. You know, but young people don't want cut cane. Cane? People want they won't watching Netflix and Prime. So you can do it from the cane field to your chopping. What's this new movie here? Chop your toe or something. But they don't want cut cane. It was good to hear that admission out of the minister yesterday. They don't want cut cane, Tommy. What with your kids? Rita? Rita said need a daughter now. Folks, I close off. I leave this thing to the young people. I close. Thank you, Rita, for those kind thoughts. Isabella and all the others, kind thoughts. So 23.5 billion approved yesterday for supplemental spending. Was an interesting, very, very interesting sitting of the National Assembly, the 70th sitting of the National Assembly in this 12th Parliament, which means we've met 70 times. It's not plenty in 3 years. Not plenty at all. Believe it or not, you got a nation and, trying to move ahead as we are. Yeah, we should be living in the National Assembly, and through policy and legislation, crafting and hammering out, building the kind of progressive society we want. Few and far in between. You see these folks in the National Assembly. Few and far in this 12th Parliament. And one of the things that came up, and I'm happy it was the honorable member, Geeta Finance out of Region 7, that raised this issue of the boat fares. Since during COVID and even after that, because of the high cost of living, thanks to this government, the high cost of living, prices are going up. The boat fare prices went up and they're going up. But Minister Wan Ejil says, they didn't approve any boat fares being raised. Yep. And that is why, again, interrogation of the ministers in the context and confines of the National Assembly is very important. Because here is an honorable member bringing the concerns of a constituency to the National Assembly and say, here is what my people are telling me. We're concerned, this fare is expensive. The minister said he didn't approve any raise in fare. Take a look and take a listen at that exchange in the National Assembly.
Government of Guyana, the Maritime Administration Department, the Ministry of Public Works have not approved any increases in fares for speedboats, and I would also take the opportunity to say minibuses as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honorable
Mr. Speaker.
Member, Ms. Finance.
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Member, Minister Indar.
Just to add to what Minister Ejil just said. 3 weeks ago, we had a campaign where 8 of those boats were detained and some of them were suspended because of that practice. So it's not that we received the reports and we didn't act. We acted on them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I'm happy that the Honorable Jill said all that he said there, because I can make a very clear statement. Ms. Teixeira is there also, and I know that she'll be able to say, to confirm that there is absolutely no speedboat operating under the Bartica Speedboat Owners Association that charge $2,500 as the Transport and Harbor is prescribed as the fare. It is not in existence, sir. So I'm going to ask the Honorable Minister right now, and so I'm going to make this statement that there is no system that passengers put in place. There is no way passengers asking to go before the boat is loaded and all of that. That is not true, sir. So whatever report is going to the minister...
Honorable Member, you're saying what the minister responded as his answer is untruthful?
Yeah, sir, I am.
Okay, I will stop you there because I don't know where your facts are. He's the competent authority.
Sir, he didn't say that as his facts. He said that is what is being reported to him, and I am giving clarity to him.
Yeah. So no official raise in fares, no official raise, but I think they paid $3,000 to get to Bartica. You give them $3,000, you ain't getting back $500. I think they said the fare is supposed to be $2,500, but the operators are charging $3,000. Yep. And that's why we got to go there and interrogate the process. And now the administration has to go and look into that matter, and if speedboat operators are still charging $3,000, then they got to fix that. You got to fix that. If the government is claiming fuel is at a good cost, no, and hence no increase in maintenance and all of that, then why are the passengers paying an increased cost? You can't just say there's no increased cost, but the boat's charging something different, and you just say, well, this is Guyana. We hope not. We hope not. We hope not, folks. Another issue that came up in the National Assembly yesterday, fuel. This was raised by the Minister of Home Affairs, Robeson Benn. Fuel, lubricants, Robeson Benn. Well, when Robeson Benn, folks, said he wanted, I noticed Kyle said he had an emergency at work, and he's here now. Stand at ease, Kyle. Stand at ease. Go and say no more. Welcome, Kyle and Yolanda and Roxanne and Tommy Gibbs, Nero, DeJean, Roxanne, Isabella. Good morning to all of you folks. When the Minister of Home Affairs, Robeson Benn, said he wanted fuel and lubricants, I said approved. Tessa, Everett, when Robeson Benn, y'all know Robeson Benn. Robeson Benn. Robeson Lethargy Benn. Y'all know Ropes. When he said he needed fuel and lubricants, I said yes, approved. We got to pick up the pace on crime fighting, arresting crime in this country. We got to pick up the pace. And if the minister needs fuel, you are the Robeson. Pedestrian Robeson, same Robeson. If Robeson said he needs lubricants, you see, Robeson's a certain age, you know, and stage. And if Robeson Benn said he needs lubricants, I said approved. I'm not going to ask too many questions, Auntie Sandra, and stand in Robeson's way, Jason. If the man said he needs fuel, approved. MP Duncan, I need lubrication, approved. That's what you do with lubricants. You lubricate. I said approved. Read the comments. He's at that age and stage. He's at the age and stage, Dolly and Charlene and Beryl. And listen to me, listen to me. Naomi Drucker, Naomi, us big people got to stick together, you know. Us big people, we got to stick together. Them young people want cut cane now. They want cut cane. Us big people, we got to stick together, Deborah Clark. We got to stick together, Siobhan Magna. Us big people. Seth Robeson said, he needs fuel. I say approved. I've seen Robeson on the go. I have seen Robeson on the move. If he says fuel, approved. Lubrication, you got to help a brother out. Lubricants. We got to stick together, big. We got to stick together. But folks, the question was posed by Member of Parliament, Geeta Chandan-Edmonds. He won 20-something million. He's the only person that came to Parliament asking for millions, you see. He's of that age and stage. He get a memo. We're in the billions era, Robeson. He wanted 20 million. So Shadow Home Affairs, Geeta Chandan-Edmonds, Member of Parliament, says, well, give us a little breakdown. How much lubricants you buying? Right? How much lubricants you buying, Robeson? I think she even asked for the name of the supplier, KY, something like that. How much lubricants you buying? You know? Give us a breakdown. We got some useful information because he talked about the amount of fires We've had bushfire, building fire, fire, PPP fire. Folks, so the National Assembly is a very interesting place. Right? We knew Robeson was at the age and stage for fuel and lubricants. But we got a little more out of that exchange yesterday. Take a listen, folks. Fuel, lubrication, and Minister Robeson Benn.
Mr. Speaker, under this line item, the minister is seeking an additional 24 million under the heading Fuel and Lubricants. And the Honorable Minister gave a detailed breakdown on how this amount will be spent. And if this request promise on the fact that there is an increase in fire or perhaps in an increase in fuel. And can you also state what are your plans to enhance resource and support services and expansion of the services within this sector to ensure that there is readiness by the fire service?
Honorable Minister of Home Affairs, the Honorable Brinley Horatio Benn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chairman, I want to thank the honorable member for her question. I'm glad that she did mention the issues of an increase in fires, which is a fact. There has been a large requirement for responses to fires in this dry season. We have the El Nino on us. Temperatures have been going up to 34, 35 degrees Celsius, particularly in country areas where it has been dry. There have been a lot of grass fires. There have also been a number of malicious setting of fires, and in addition to that, the fire service has the ambulance service with it, and the responses for both the fire service and the ambulance service itself, which it is partnered with, is also in response to increased calls and also in response to malicious and fake calls, which adds up to all of the problem. The sum that we're requiring is just $24 million. There have been a number of new assets which we have procured. 2 new excavators, and we brought online a couple of new assets, including a new firefighting unit at the airport, an aerodrome firefighting unit, and a ladder for going up to rescue people, which is employed at the hotel fire on the East Bank. To give some specifics, we had, in terms of grass fires, 807 grass and rubbish fires countrywide, 6,140 ambulance calls for the year so far, 510 building fires were recorded year to date.
Yeah, folks, there you have it. Fuel, lubricants, and Guyana's Minister of Home Affairs, Robeson Benn. Yeah. Dry spell. See, when it's too dry, you got a lot of friction, you create fire. You're going to be inflamed. Got to get the lubricants, folks. Please and thank you. A lot of fires. Got to be well prepared, fueled up, and well prepared. Fire Nation, told you guys all the time. Knew it. Over 800 bushfires. Over 500 building fires. It's a lot of fires, Maxine Monroe. A lot of fires. Right? A lot of fires. Need a lot of lubricants. Jack Dio, Kwame, Anil, Ben, everybody. Lubricate them all. Lubricants, slippery fellas. Very slippery. That being said, folks, I believe the Speaker did something that is very reprehensible yesterday during the course of the National Assembly. And the passage of this $25.9 billion in supplemental spending. A very reprehensible. Oriana Lord, tremendously reprehensible. Andrew, Rowena, Sandra, Debbie, Casey, Parker. Very reprehensible. Vice President Jack Rio referred to the honorable member of the National Assembly, Kathy Hughes, as a low life. another reprehensible comment. But yesterday, the Speaker alluded to that, legitimating that he was trying to be smart. But you know, you got to struggle there. You can write it down in your notes. He got to struggle there. He was trying to be witty. He passed the stage a long time ago. He was trying to be witty. One of the things he said, sometimes you want to question the type and level of life of some of the members of the National Assembly. The type and the level of life. He's referring here to Cathy Hughes, who he took exception to. Would dare question him in public. Cathy Hughes last week was on a stage at the Stabroek Market and disagreed with the Speaker. Who is he? Yeah? Who is he? Kim Jong-Mansour? He doesn't want to be questioned. Well, listen to what he said in the National Assembly. And then I spoke with Cathy, the Honourable Member of Parliament, on the sidelines of the sitting of the National Assembly yesterday, on the very issue that you raised. Take a look, folks. The Speaker attempting to be witty. Too late. Too late in life.
And sometimes you want to question the type and level of life of members of parliament. That afternoon, at the People's Parliament at Stabroek Market, the Honourable Member Cathy Hughes said, so imagine, today in Parliament, we have brought what we call a motion, which is just 2 pieces of paper saying the things we want to discuss. And believe it or not, once again, the Speaker decided we must not even have a discussion. Now, what is the point of having Parliament? Honourable members, I'm speaking. And I will say again, as Ralph, the Speaker Ramkaran, has stated, you have a criticism of the ruling of the Speaker, bring a motion. Bring a motion. And I will repeat again, in a particular parliament from which most of the Westminster system parliaments derive their standing orders and rules, if the Speaker gets angry with you, he don't allow you to speak, period. Outside of the other remedies within the standing orders. So I urge, again, honourable members, to please be careful.
We absolutely are being censored, and the Speaker today referred to the rules of the standing orders, which is what guides what takes place within the walls of Parliament. And therefore, it is untrue and unacceptable that the Speaker thinks that outside of the walls of Parliament, that I would not be allowed to share my own independent thoughts on his failure to allow proper discourse and discussion in this Parliament. I have been in Parliament since 2011. I have seen parliaments operate not only in Guyana as a member, but in other parts of the world when we've done training through IPU, the International Parliamentary Association, several agencies. So we know what is expected. And therefore, for the Speaker to think that in a public space, like I did last week at Stabroek Market, I cannot comment on the fact that he disallowed a motion. And I will repeat, this was a motion where we were together confirming our stance that from 1899, Essequibo belonged to Guyana. A motion that talked about us working together as one people, one nation, one destiny. And a motion that asked how many Venezuelans are where, that asked that Venezuelans, additional Venezuelans not be allowed to come in to the country right now until we deal with these issues. The motion had a lot of realistic and strong, important issues and recommendations. And why do we put these recommendations in a motion? Because there are few opportunities that we are given to share our views and thoughts. And APNU AFC, whether they like it or not, whether the speaker likes it or not, we represent 50% of this population that give us comments, that ask us questions to ask within the parliament. And that is why we are here, to do the people's work. And when you compare his approach to other speakers, it is chalk and cheese. Parliament is supposed to encourage discourse, encourage debate. Clearly, according to him, we will never be able to discuss any issue associated with our controversy with Venezuela and the current situation we find ourselves in, because guess what? It's not urgent as far as he's concerned. Because we had one discussion on it 3 weeks ago, that's it. So regardless of what takes place between now going forward, it's not going to be urgent. And we are talking about land. We're talking about 3/4 of this country that each belongs to each of us, that our foreparents shed blood for to give us today. We have to operate at the best and the highest level to make sure Essequibo continues to be ours. And you don't tell me that I can't raise my concerns. I still have independent thought. I will not be silenced by the speaker or anybody in any political party. I'm sorry I'm that angry, Sharad, but this is really unacceptable. Something happens in the British Parliament, they're there the next day and there's a big debate. We hide.
But this is what you've been talking about, the quality of parliament that we have in this 12th parliament, the committees that don't meet, the infrequency in which parliament meets as a whole. Then there's the responses to the questions, the motions. It's always never urgent. It's always
that's right.
That seems to be the trend.
They come today with a paper where they're asking for billions, not millions, billions of dollars. And you don't have some of the information there to hand over. Any question a parliamentarian asks of that minister with regards to spending on a particular heading should be answered. Not for us, but for the people out there that want to know. We are here to scrutinize. That's what our opposition does in terms of transparency and accountability. So the constant jokes, the comments behind, under the table, the stupidness, the immature behavior is totally unacceptable, really. We ought to be ashamed at how this parliament operates.
Yeah, interestingly, this is where we are. And I heard during the course of the debate this morning, people saying, we seem to have wanted that oneness is only for a couple of days, and then we're back. This is who they are.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about oneness on the border. We need to keep reminding people that the Foreign Relations Committee only ever met once. Sorry, twice. So for any recommendations we have, today's motion that was denied was brought by David Patterson. And what was the motion about? Talking about creating a bipartisan committee, a committee that would have representatives of the opposition, the government, private sector, civil society, that would look a border commission, so to speak. Why wouldn't we want to work together and put the whole principle of oneness into action with a joint border commission, that we all could sit and debate the best approach, what would be best, what can we do? Does the PPP feel that they have a monopoly on information, on approaches, that this is not our country too? We're in a bad way.
Yeah, folks, welcome back. That was Member of Parliament, the Honorable Catherine Hughes, responding to what the Speaker said in the National Assembly yesterday, trying to censor her, what she said on a platform politically at the Stabroek Market last week. Fascinating, fascinating. But here's the National Assembly, where again you get to put questions to ministers. They've got an answer. Another very interesting piece of information that came out of that 70th sitting of the 12th Parliament, the National Assembly yesterday, folks, is that on census, the census, the National Assembly approved $2 billion in August last year for the census. This is a very important mechanism, whatever you want to call it, project, where you receive data from households, who is earning what, who is eating what, who is shopping where. You get information on fuel and lubricants as well. A lot of data is collected. $2 billion the National Assembly approved last year, August 2022, $2 billion. And so it came up. This is useful information. A lot of it can be used for planning, strategizing as a country. More than a year later, we're still waiting for the information concerning the census. Member of Parliament, the Honorable Angélique Ferguson, put the question to the Minister of Finance. When did the census? When can we expect the results of the census? Very important questions. Very important information collected by the census. Here was the response, the exchange between the Honorable Member Angélique Ferguson and the Honorable Member Dr. Ashley Singh. Take a look, folks.
Can the Honorable Senior Minister inform the National Assembly when the 2022 census exercise is likely to be completed and the final report laid in the National Assembly? Thank you.
Honorable Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. Singh.
Thank you very much, sir. Let me preface my answer by saying very clearly that we share the concern for a timely completion of the census. I want to assure the honourable member on the other side that the government's position is firmly that we would like a timely, just as I'm sure she would like, the honourable member would like, a timely completion of the census. So we are, I believe, fully aligned in terms of our objective in relation to timely completion of the census, as it reflected in the question posed. Let me also say, sir, that we are that I am certainly mindful of the fact that we had anticipated a preliminary report to have been completed by now. The Bureau of the Statistics have been, my apologies, the Bureau of the Statistics has, sir, on a regular basis been keeping me informed on the progress of their field work and the challenges that they have been encountering. And these challenges, sir, are, I don't believe, unknown to all of us. They have included various episodes of inclement weather, competing national events, including around census time. There was the big period of cricket, which meant a lot of persons were out of their homes. A number of instances of respondent unavailability, or I would use the word unavailability, sir, for want of a better word. And so the Bureau has been keeping me apprised, sir, of the challenges that they've been encountering. And we have been consistently maintaining our position that we would like a comprehensively prepared census. One that is reflected of the required quality and rigor, and that gives us a comprehensive count and a rich set of data and statistics in relation to our demography. The latest information available from the Bureau, sir, is that we should have a preliminary report by the second quarter of 2024, and subsequent to the preparation of that preliminary report by the end of the second quarter 2024, the Bureau will require a further 4 to 6 months for preparation and publication of all reports. I want to conclude my answer, sir, by saying that no doubt, like the honourable member, we would like the census exercise to be completed as quickly as possible, but we would also like it to be completed without compromise to its rigor and comprehensiveness. And that, sir, is the balance and trade-off that have to be struck. We welcome any option to draw attention to the census. We welcome any effort to encourage households to ensure that they are counted. And in that regard, sir, I believe that the questions that were posed by the honourable in this regard certainly contribute to those objectives being met. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think in essence, some of what Dr. Ashton was saying there's still some time. It's very important, you know, that you take part in the census. It's a civic duty to take part in the census, because that is useful information, whichever government is in there. It's useful information. I hope this government is not just taking their own merry time to collate this information and to give us a snapshot of where the country is. Very, 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 very important information to use as we plan as a country, and together we can move this country forward. Lois Levens, Debbie Collins, and all the other folks, let's shoot some other information your way before we let you guys go this morning. Some other issues happening in the 592. Believe it or not, it's going to be completed by 2024, the census. I think he still says that enumerators are still making the rounds to persons they might have missed, so there's still an opportunity. You know, I've been told that former member of the National Assembly, Chandan-Edmonds, telling us has been hospitalized overnight. Yep, that's some of the information we're receiving, and may have been medevac overseas. That is how serious, and whatever his ailment is. Chandan-Edmonds, you all remember Chandan-Edmonds? You all remember Chandan-Edmonds? Yeah, very unwell, quote unquote, and may have been medevac overseas. We're going to keep you guys posted on that. Some of the other things we're following, folks, before we let you go. Them guys, some big things happening in 2024. They're going to be hosting CARICOM leaders here very early in 2024, and a number of other dignitaries. They're even telling us that Qatar investment company is going to be building a huge hotel, fuel and lubricants hotel on Carifesta Avenue. Very interesting times, very interesting developments. I'm looking forward to 2024 and all that it has in store. Looking forward to 2024, folks. Guys are telling us big things are ahead. A lot of dignitaries are going to be passing through, and we're going to be keeping them honest, keeping their feet to the fire, folks, and interrogating governance in this country as we move forward. Yep. Congrats to the Sheriff Group. The Sheriff Group getting all this money from. They've just purchased a Bell 429 helicopter. Yep, no doubt that's going to be coming to good service now that there's one needed for the Guyana Defense Force. Yeah, congrats to the Sheriff Group. They said it's going to be used for their offshore activities and rescue operations as well. Congrats to them. Injecting a lot of money and a lot of business fronts. Billions of dollars, no, there's not millions. I think they said they would be spending about $10 billion in projects, $10, $15 billion. And I might be being conservative there. In projects they're doing locally. Yeah, a lot of money. Lot of money. Congrats to them. Bell 429. That's not a cheap piece of equipment. Yep. Congrats to them on that, folks. Copenhagen, fantastic part of our country. If you get a chance to visit this country, visit places like Cato and Copenhagen, and we got some beautiful areas in our country. Please, see more of it, folks. Now, this male and female, they had a football championship. I think it was held in Cato. When in doubt, refer to the notes. Yes, it was held at the Cato Sports Ground. And the Copenhagen males won over Bamboo Creek male team, Copenhagen males. And then the Copenhagen females won over Kurukubari females. So a strong football team there, folks, in Copenhagen. We love to see our young people involved in good, healthy endeavors. Good, healthy endeavors. Copenhagen for the win, folks. Both the male and female football team. And, our indigenous brothers and sisters can teach us a thing or two about football. My brothers and sisters, can teach us a thing. And it's good to see companies giving back. Good to see companies giving back, like Massy, which has just feted more than 700 children for this festive season, folks. Over 700, and love to see more companies do this, fulfilling their corporate social responsibility and, really doing it well. But as we run Massy, a very interesting development out of Massy headquarters in Trinidad. One of their senior vice president is on investigation. And it's very interesting why. It's very, very interesting why they're saying that disciplinary actions are pending against her. And here is why that is so. The senior vice president, let me give you her correct designation, it's the Massy Holdings General Counsel and Executive Vice President for Business Integrity, Angélique Parisot-Potter. And she's the person they're telling us this disciplinary process has been initiated against. But folks, hold on. This is interesting. Folks, smash that emoji button for us and share the light. This is interesting, and we're closing with this. This is why this is so interesting. Now, at one of their annual retreats, let me make sure I have that right. This was their, I'm tripping myself up here. This was the occasion of their, they were having an executive meeting, right? They were having their executive meeting, and she raised an issue on the floor of the meeting. She said she had submitted a report to top management, but no action. This is her infractions. She had raised an important issue with the top management of the company, and she had no response. And she felt an imperative to raise this issue at the company's just right there in the notes, at their board of directors meeting. I want to get the information right, because we promised that valid, credible information. She raised the complaint at the company's annual general meeting. This again is their executive vice president for business integrity and Massy Holdings General Counsel. She raised the issue at the company's annual general meeting. What is the issue she raised? You ask. Thank you for raising that question. What is the issue she raised? She said that the company, right? The company had flew executives of Massy Holdings. This is why it's so important to know what these companies are involved in. Had flew executives to a retreat in the United States of America. But hear what this retreat entailed. She said this retreat, employees would be trained to communicate with the dead and to self-heal. Yes, this is what the senior vice president, executive vice president, and general counsel of Massy Holdings said. At this retreat where executives of Massy Trinidad would be flown, they would be trained to communicate with the dead and to self-heal using white light energy. Right? Yeah, that is what she said. That's what she alleges here. They would use white light energy. Now, CEO for Massy Holdings, one Mr. Gervais or Gavas, might be pronounced differently altogether. Warner, Gravas Warner, right? He says that, this is not necessarily true, according to him, but he says that he has found, because he was the one who recommended these retreats for company executives to the U.S. He said he has found them very useful in terms of how you can get in touch with yourself and things you have repressed in your past. And he says after a year or so of the company, they've been doing this for a long time apparently, engaging in these kinds of exercises, he felt that they had improved the company's bottom line. That's what he said. He felt it improved the company's bottom line. This is very important to know, folks, what some of these companies are involved in. Yeah, very interesting. And now she's raised this issue. What she was raising in particular is not the events of themselves and the nature of these events, being trained to communicate with the dead and using white light energy to heal yourself and all that. The point that the senior executive vice president was raising is that much needed foreign currency was being expended on such activities at a time when foreign currency is very scarce in Trinidad. She said one of these excursions could run the company up to about $500,000 US dollars in expenses. Yep, as each executive had to pay, thousands of US dollars. It cost the company to fly an executive and accommodate them, and then the cost for this kind of white light healing and all of that, speaking with the dead and so on. And that is what she said concerned her, that while the company was in need of much needed foreign currency reserves for other aspects of the business, tons of it was being expended, talking to the dead and so on. As Margaret Nelson says, it's jumbie antics. I just love how Guyanese could get right to the point. It's jumbie antics. Thank you. Thank you, Margaret. Jumbie antics. Yep. That being said, folks, we're going to leave our broadcast there. Yeah. You got to be so careful. Right. Got to be so careful. June St. John Passat says, Sharon. So the death from Massy Group will vote in the next election. Who knows? This is Guyana, June. This is Guyana. Yep. Jumbie antics. Folks, that being said, we're going to leave it here this morning. This jumbie antics, we can leave it right here. Please and thank you. Lyndon Gill, Maureen and Tommy, Joel Ward, and June St. John Passat, Randy Cole. Good to have you on the live, Randy, and all the other folks. I see Veronica Primo Rollins is here as well. Somebody said, nothing new under the sun. Sharon Mercury said, them boy needs to go on that retreat. Who said they went already? Who said they haven't gone already? Yep, interesting. Jason James says, nothing new under the sun. Yeah, nothing new under the sun. Yep, it is what it is, folks. That's going to do it for us at this end. That's our time, good folks. That's our program. Stay safe. Have a fantastic day. Oh, that went up too loud. Too loud, folks. Have a fantastic Rest of the day, we're going to leave it there for now. Naomi Drucker says she want one them work. I want all one them company. Teaching people to talk with the dead and white light energy healing and, that kind of, yeah. People making a bread though. People eating a food. Danella Johnson, Wenda. Yeah. I thank the Lord for Jesus Christ. Full stop. That's going to do it for us today, send folks. Have a fantastic rest of the day. Until our next broadcast. Stay safe. Stay safe.